what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, it helps him adjust and not try to say compensate in, covering a lane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he'll know where you are like inherently rather than having to search.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and like
Let me see if anyone in here is interested in listening in the other channel. And I'll be right back. Sorry to interrupt.
yeah, no worries.
No worries.
Um, so just the backstory specifically for this game, this is like my third or fourth time doing offlane Johanna specifically.
Okay. They won't
Um,
let me do that for sure, but
the
I've thrown it out before.
yeah, yeah.
I thought you did a great job on this Joe play.
Oh, thank you. So one of the things that
I was
helps,
watching it.
and I hope like I think Rock said you guys suggested this replay. Um, the wave clear timing in my head feels very similar to me for like Neil Peasant's Leoric, Augur,
Okay.
and like Sonya.
So you can go ahead and get started. I'm listening and I'm here, but I'm muted. As you can see, there's a baby.
Yeah, poor
Do what you
guy.
gotta do, Daddy.
No
Poor
worries.
guy. Yeah. So hopefully, like, even though I might be talking about like what I'm doing on Joe, the like timing of stuff, it felt very comfortable to me, and those are like the offlaners I play the most.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's definitely weird pre-4 because of like the talent. When I take it, I'll talk about it more. But hopefully, some of those timing things will work. Um, but something just since you have the other team here, I know I have to sometimes be vocal about letting them be comfortable with a wave crashing at our gate. Because the reality is like I time my clearing so that my waves are on our side of the map where it's safe for me to clear and not like at the half.
Yeah,
And
that's a
if
good one.
someone means well and is just looking for something to do and they soak and it pushes my wave out, I end up down the road getting put out at risk because now I've got to extend my body further to soak.
Yes.
And
And that's
so,
something some of my team does. They notice a lane, they go say they'll do it for me. And that kind of just messes up the double soak rotation, like even if you are
totally.
double soaking, because then it pushes that lane out, keeps
Oh,
you in the lane that you currently are in.
Yeah, and then your choices are to push or try to flank, but there might not be an opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I would just encourage like for the rest of your team to help you as the off lane. If they're ever going to clear a lane, like when you arrange, right? Like there's kind of this is the off lane's main lane, this is where the other heroes are going to be. If anyone's going on your turf, whether it's one or two or three lanes, if you're TLV, just to like ask permission. Because hypothetically, if they clear the lane where I want it cleared, it doesn't put me at risk. I'm not mad about my soak stat being lost.
Mm-hmm.
I get worried about like, I don't want to die for a minion wave. Um, I mean, it feels a lot safer as Joe, right? I've got an unstoppable, which I'm not normally used to having.
Yeah, you're not very gankable.
Yeah, yeah. I guess so. Um, where do I want to start? So, if this helps, one of the things for me that really shifted how I see offlaning was back in the HGC days. Um, when Wubby was tanking, I really liked watching was offlaning. I really liked watching his streams. And he actually didn't call offlaning, he called it macro support. And
Interesting.
the whole point of that role on the team is to support the macro goals, which every comp has a macro component, which is soak. If you don't get soak, you don't get talents, you don't get things to do to win, right?
Mm-hmm.
But depending on your comp, there's multiple ways you can do that. So it's making sure that what you're doing as the off laner is more like, am I supporting the team's broad macro goal, right? So like how I'm offlaning in this replay with Johanna is different than when I'm playing Samuro because their comps are designed for different things on how we're working the map, right?
Yeah.
So this isn't to presume or assume that any of you don't know those things, but like we try to, we're not always the greatest at it, but we almost verbally go over that before every competitive game just to make sure we're on the same page. Like we're not at the level on our team where we can look at a comp and all like identify, oh, Zad's double soaking this time. Zad's gonna push one lane. So that can be something to help each other out, is just clarify those things. Or if you don't know, ask. Oh, sorry, just give me 1 sec. That's my little one.
No worries.
While he's dealing with the little one, I'll just reiterate some of the things and ideas. Like I said, I really liked Webby's definition for what your job is, just because it helps you as like the tank and shot caller as well. When you know that, like, okay, he's my camper, or hey, I need to cover your lane so you can camp. Trying to have some of those things set aside, as well as understanding what your job is when it is time to team fight. So like, it's like sometimes it's easy for Yorick. You're like, oh, I show up to the team fight, I press entomb. And it sounds really simple, but like Leo really doesn't want to necessarily do anything outside of double soak and then entomb. Like he can brawl, but he's not really a 1v1er unless he gets like, life suck on a giant target. And so in the same way, like if you guys are going to draft offlane Joanna or even Sonya, just trying to understand from the get-go, hey, what's our game plan? Are we trying to siege? Because if it's like I can go Wrath and I can be a bruiser in siege, but if you want me to, make a big flank and leap on an Anduin or leap on a squishy target, like that might change my build. But despite build nuances, you're still responsible to try and cover all of the actual like game, and that can be challenging because like you end up picking different talents and doing different jobs. So yeah, so with Joe in this particular game set, we weren't worried about needing Falling Sword. So they're not a dive comp. They're not going to be trying to all in on somebody. They chose a Chromeme, who is a poke hero, poke/pick. They chose Lunara. Lunara is poke. You can be somewhat pick oriented with ha ha ha. Sonya can be pick, all in with her leap, and then Garrosh, because it's Valkymer, Garrosh can do multiple, but since it's Valk, this particular game, he's gonna go taunt, so it's gonna be an all-in. But the way that their team plays, they don't play for picks and all-ins. They actually take slow, long fights. So his taunt will be mainly to save people rather than to throw and get picks. And so having Joe having a falling sword won't really help us. It's not helping us dive the back line. It's not helping us make those transitions. So Joe's main goal is mainly to wave clear this game, but also we specifically stole it from CCS, so that way they wouldn't have Joe as a tank. And then I didn't mind tanking. Like I could have easily tanked as Joe, but once they picked Garrosh, I was like, it's a lot easier if I'm ETC into Garrosh than Joe into Garrosh, just because of all of the extra boops. So we decided to flip it to offlane Joe. So, any other questions about composition or thoughts on how the offlane interacts with the team? Because like I know one of the most difficult parts that can be done is communicating, hey, I need to catch soak, or do you need me now? And so trying to have that overlap of discussion, so that way you can actually, have a back and forth. Like, I don't know if you ever watch our streams, me and Zad are pretty much the only ones talking. And it's because it's like trying to know, hey, are you ahead on a rotation? Are you behind on a rotation? Do we need to cover this for you? So kind of the same way, just try and keep that going. So
Okay.
Sweet, I'll pass it to you, Zed, since you're back. Or have you pseudo back? Okay. If Zed's not back yet, I'll start the replay. I also have the same thing. You might have to switch which screen share's happening, but no big deal. So we figured between the two of us that it might be a little challenging to get this all to work accordingly. So.
You can watch 2 streams at once, so it's easier to cycle back and forth.
Oh, nice. Well, either way.
Okay, I'm back.
All right,
Thanks, Rock.
No worries. You want to lead from your stream then?
Okay.
Okay, go back to yours.
So, I think the big thing Oh, you okay? We have to realize is the team we're playing early, we know they tend to like to try to sneak a tower top or bottom. So our positioning is a little bit different than, say, if you're playing standard.
Wait, random question. Are you playing in Japanese?
Yes, I play with the Japanese voice pack.
Okay.
Actually, I think it's Korean. My text is in English, but the voices will all be in the Korean pack.
Interesting. I'm intrigued.
I
Google later.
highly encourage everyone to try a different language pack. It adds a new layer of joy to the game.
Be like an anime game. Sorry to
Yeah,
distract.
it feels totally like an anime game. Our healer plays with the characters, their voice packs are in French.
Interesting.
So here, because I'm Johanna, I'm not like super worried that Lunara's Wisp sees me. So something just to kind of keep in mind with just the positioning for Joe. Kind of like Leo, I don't really have a engage on my base kit, right? So all I can kind of do is try to pressure with waves rather than try to go up and siege on my own. But something I can do is if Sonya's clearing, I can use Condemn to interrupt her. So part of like what you want to try to do to manage your waves is knowing what interactions you can do to disrupt your opponents. Like Tyrael actually can beat Joe in lane by shielding the waves because he changes her like efficiencies on the minions.
Yeah.
I suck at this, but fun fact is Sonya, you can actually, when you're whirlwinding, make it impossible for Leo to hit his W on you because you can position like right in the middle of his hitbox where the hand doesn't spawn. I'm very, very bad at that, but that is like a mechanical thing you can do.
Interesting.
So the
I
big
didn't
thing
realize
here is
the
like,
hitbox was that like gapped.
yeah, it doesn't start at right on his body. So something probably because I am not well repped on Johanna is like I lose a bunch of map time having to hearth because I've run out of mana from clearing. But because I'm offlane Joe and I don't need the other talents, I take Eternal Retaliation to where it's like after I condemn, if I auto a minion, I get mana back and instantly like KO it. So that really makes my rotations and clear super efficient. And I know you were talking about the mini-map. So here, right, I can't see Gary anywhere. And so when I'm over here...
you might need to draw a box, because we can't see your mouse.
Oh.
Like,
I can see the cursor.
there's the cursor, yeah.
The cursor across.
I was over by their gate, and then I was like, oh dang, I don't see Gary. I'm just going to start backing up. Right, one of the nice things is like with our 4-man is if they were contesting them, I could see them. And my general rule I try to go by is if I can't ping. I know I can ping. I only got one hand right now.
It's okay.
I know I don't know if there's a way, but I've seen people do it. Like you can start the StarCraft 2 selection box, but I don't know if I can see
but like
it.
this box right where Garrosh is, like those bushes, it's like in my head I try to remind myself not to be greedy and pretend that like, you know, they're reasonably able to bush gank me if I haven't seen anyone on the map for 10 seconds.
Okay.
I mean, granted, there's some things that are different, right? Like, let's say I could see Gary bottom, but I couldn't see the rest of the team. With Johanna, I'm not worried. Like, even if I get speared, Chromie doesn't have time loop. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the risk of even 4 people ganking me at my current health and with Iron Skin up is pretty low, right?
Yeah.
But if I don't get my D off and Garrosh chucks me, I can be in trouble. So it's just kind of knowing with what hero you're on, which specific heroes you need to see in vision and which ones you don't care about, right? Like, honestly, as Johanna, I'm never going to have to care about if Lunar is out of vision. She's probably never going to threaten me if I'm at a reasonable health pool, right?
Yeah.
So here, because the shrine's up, I'm trying to talk to my team that I want us to try to have 7. So I stay to clear that wave rather than hop right to the shrine. But we're actively talking about that in our comms so that they know not to step up too far and just keep poking. And then you can see we hit 7, what's probably going to be 15-ish seconds before the blue team. And it's because I stayed back and cleared that mid wave, right?
Yeah.
But that's also not me doing that. Like, I'm pretty sure if we watched Rock's stream, because the replay doesn't have our voice comms, right? You're probably hearing me like 7's close, I'm clearing mid, and then I'm coming, right? And I'm also not going to stay right till 7. I just want our XP bar closer. And if you know, we can trickle to 7 faster, that gives us an edge to close out.
Yeah, there's
shrine.
always a passive drip.
Yeah, totally. So you can kind of see that wave I cleared pushed us to 7 on the drip, just that little bit faster. But to that point, something else is that also my offlane decision there. I need my 4-man to adjust around that and to be playing safe and to be making sure that, you know, if they overstep on the objective, that any soak I get isn't going to be worth it because we'll be down now because of the hero kill, right?
Yeah.
So that communication to let people know where I am helps ideally the 4-man adjust and play in a way that my soak actually matters, because my soak doesn't happen in a vacuum as much as I'm alone when I'm doing it, if that makes sense.
Yes. I understand what you get. Because they can't read your mind.
Yeah, exactly. And as much as we've been playing the game together for 8 years, that stuff doesn't always
Well,
translate.
you can get an idea where somebody's going to be in their generalized movements, but
yeah.
there's still going to be different decisions every time.
Totally. And so here, like, obviously, we have the opportunity to get kills with our 4 CCs and a Junkrat. So Poe has to go home, which I don't blame him. He has no health, no mana. He barely lived. So obviously, I'm calling for if anyone can follow up on the boop. Let's see if we can do that. And then Joe is going to immediately start running to capture Soak. You know, we just hit level 7. Macro-wise, you know, the minion wave is still worth more than a kill. Like, right here is about the breaking point, or break transition for that. You can jump over to mine if you need to, because obviously he's got kiddo stuff right now. So, my stream's still up for that. So, as we, so as he's going back now to go home for offlane duty to catch up and do homework, Poe's going to be leaving to go take care of that. And so that's something that...
homework.
Yeah, and because that's really what it is, right? The waves have stacked up this whole time, right? He was here fighting, but all of that XP, you can see all the tiny globes. So as Zad picks up all of those globes, we're able to hopefully get a kill bottom. It didn't work out. You know, it's like I was calling watch for the next jump on Garrosh there. It jumped on Garrosh. It couldn't kill him. So we're running down to take the bottom camp because we have a number advantage. And so right now we're up a whole level, and it's, you know, mainly from not only the kill we got, but Zad's pushing. And so now that Zephy's back, he's trying to just keep ahead and stay ahead. So kind of like he was mentioning before, he can't actually interact with him. He's not going to bully him for a kill, but he's able to make it to where the wave is so far pushed forward that there's no threat when Zad goes middle of being in danger for catching the soak, right? Because Zephy now has to, if he wants to efficiently clear his wave, he has to stay for one more wave up there. So he's effectively trading waves. And so I called, hey, do you need help with the middle camp? And he said that he didn't need it, but we were looking for a kill and pushing with ours, and so he ended up going there. So once he finishes the minions, he's going to help finish this wave, because now we can turn this potentially into a push. And then I said, okay, hey, let's go look bottom while you guys go back and do your homework. So we're looking bottom. That Lunar is kind of dangling out there. You can see me kind of rotating on the mini-map. I'm looking for her, couldn't find her. So that's kind of the idea, is that as the team communicates and looks for stuff, we might be able to get kills and do stuff. We ended up over-rotating, over-committing for that, but... with our 10's advantage, we called, can we find a kill? Can we look for something? And so we're looking on the bottom side there for a kill. Again, Zad's ahead on his rotation. There's not a ton there. I tried to slide the Garrosh. I missed. It didn't work out. So since Sonya's not there, he's taking the opportunity to smash the wall. But now that Sonya's here, he's just going to go clear. Right? Like I said, it's really funny that he mentioned in the Discord message earlier to me how similar playing offlane Leoric and playing offlane Joe is, because you know, it's like they really don't want to fight and engage. Even Zool's kind of the same way, right? Like Zool can't camp. None of those guys can camp, so they want to be able to just keep pushing waves. So we saw them pushing bottom, so I said, hey, at least give me Junkrat so we can answer, and then Poe and Velvet go take the camp. And so if, you know, he was Hogger or something, we could have maybe had Poe Velvet cover the top lane and he could do the camp as Hogger. But, you know, it's like just whatever it takes to help get that camp done. Our presence was enough to scare them off, so they stopped pushing. They did get some wall chip damage there. That's what CCS likes to do. They like to play, they jokingly call it PVS. It's a player versus structures. They don't actually want to fight people. They just want to knock down buildings. So a lot of this, you'll kind of just see at this point, is going to be a lot of the similar rotations, but the biggest thing is going to come down to comms. So the fact that we have a global in right wing means that there's a lot more support and things where Velvet can kind of hang around and help give support, whether they be ganking or doing stuff. A lot of comms going on right now about no vision. We haven't seen anyone on their team for the last like 10 seconds. You saw Luna Wisp kind of just run through there, and yeah, there's Valkymer, right? So if he, you know, if Zad's up there pushing really hard, you know, yes, he has a D, but he can still be punished. So at this point, I called trade buildings. Right or wrong, you know, I don't know. But I said, let's trade buildings. And then they were pushing overextended. I said, okay, we can't let them do that. We need to go punish them for that. And unfortunately, you can kind of see very quickly that I get to the spot way faster than the rest of my team. I don't know if it's because they really wanted to finish that building, but I eventually get all the way up there, and I said, Zad, go deep on the flank. Go deep, go deep, go deep. Zad's like, and he's looking at the chromie. I was like, no, go even deeper. Look for whoever's up there. And so eventually he finds the Rhaegar. And so that's kind of what they're looking for. Pyroblast ends up getting the Rhaegar. Velvet does amazing things and stays alive. And then at this point, I said, okay, we have no kills left. Let's win the objective. So I don't know if we'll actually win the objective here because of how much time we spent. But that was the idea, is we can call the objective and try and win. So we see them pushing in. We're not going to be able to win the objective. I said, can we kill Sonya? Post Lapse unfortunately missed, so Sonya gets away, and then they get the objective here. There's not really a lot we can do about it. But again, we traded effectively up a whole level for a kill there, and we don't really like giving the objective away, but I don't think we really had a choice based on my bad call bottom to try and trade for the bottom building. So despite that they got an objective, they're going to get the building, and we pretty much did the same. So I don't know, Zad, at this point, if you remembered if you were running straight bottom or if you're just catching soak.
I'm going mid, because I'm like, I can see on the mini-map that almost all of the CCS folks are up top. Now here I should have left because I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna clear one more wave and get out, and Gary's gonna get to me, and I'm actually gonna end up killing Velvet instead of myself because I don't have Pleasant Shield yet to heal. But what I was thinking and hoping that if I would have got out, minions will always do more damage to the structures because of the multiplicative bonus they get compared to a hero. So as like, there's a couple of small exceptions where like Samuro with all his clones up, or like I think there's like a breakpoint with Illidan and his Unending Hatred, that like auto-attacking stacking one. So really what I'm thinking is I don't need to stay and attack the building. I need to get my wave there, and they're going to do more damage to the building than I ever could.
Oh yeah, when I'm pushing a building, I already try to go behind the building and keep the wave off it, so my wave can keep damage on it.
Yeah. But there I overstayed, and unfortunately Velvet died because I overextended. So clearing the first wave I cleared, I think was fine. If I could do it again, I should have just left because I lost vision of them from top and just went right to clearing bottom and got more soak, and we would have like double netted ahead because we don't give them the soak on that kill that I gave them, and I still catch the same amount of wave that I did.
Totally. And then because we heard all of them communicating oh crap, I just killed Velvet, da da da. I called the team over to run over to see if we could do anything to try and help. And so we get there, and Osprey is still just too far out. Rhaegar, this is one of the things that you can punish on Rhaegar. Rhaegar's range is terrible. He can't cleanse. He tried to actually walk up and cleanse him, so he could use the ha-ha-ha to leap out of there. That's what he was trying to do, but his cleanse range is that short that he can't cleanse from that far without getting interrupted. So he ends up walking into the mosh, and then that ends up having him being almost double kill here. I didn't communicate here well. I yelled, kill wits, kill wits, kill wits. And Weniba was like, I don't know what a wits is, and just kept driving the truck the other way. And so she's like, hero names. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, it's hard. It's hard when I'm playing against real people. So I'll let it keep playing. You can hear my kids yelling in the background next. So I'll be right back.
That's actually a good point, where one of the things to like talk about as a team is like how you want to refer to someone. When Rock said wits, I'm like 100% that's Rhaegar. But Rock and I also do the scouting report where we actually pay attention to like this name is paired with this hero. Not everybody maybe sees the map that way.
Yeah.
It's not that there's a right or wrong, but just as a team, like, do you go by hero name or by player name? Like, those are small things that can make those impromptu opportunities easier to seize, right? Like, if Rock called Rhaegar there's a good chance that Rhaegar actually dies.
Yeah. Sometimes we have a bad habit of saying, look at this, instead of, so like, what's this?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and it's so, like, communication is always so interesting, because, like, what works for our particular group of 5 people might not for yours, and it's not like a right or wrong thing. It's just understanding the what's another thing that we've worked on a lot.
Whether we target focus or just in general our short words. Like,
yeah, there's been a couple of words over the years where it's like Rock says something and it makes sense to me but not to Velvet, or it makes sense to the 4-man but as the offlane I'm like, what?
I like that idea with shortcut words.
Yeah, and as long as everybody knows what they mean, it makes a huge difference, right?
If you want to find out what the different words and things are, like, it's fun to go watch your opponent's streams, because they definitely have, like, little things and sayings that they do differently. Like, if you watch CCS's version of this stream on Towers of Doom, he specifically says, like, oh, I'm gonna go take the chunnel. And it's like, and I'm like, what? I'm like, oh, he's talking about the tunnel, or like, you know, it's like reminding his team. We're PVS guys, like, just very quick reminder of what their win condition is. So here I found a kill. Zad obviously was doing his job. I just happened to catch the Rhaegar out of position, and right wing managed to finish the isolation. So we were able to try and kill Rhaegar. The heal came out, so instead we switched targets, and then Rhaegar was overextended. And if I would have been a little bit more conscious, I would have pushed that out of Zad's kill range. But I was trying to use my talent that I didn't have. I thought I had the pinball wizard this game, and I did not.
Also, to Rock's kind of point there is, they probably would have got the kill if I didn't rotate up. But given how close I was, and the fact that when I looked, I'm like, oh, I'm still up on Soak. We're maybe not up a talent tier, but we're still like ahead on the bar. I'm gonna choose to go there instead of Soak, because either I will ideally help find a second kill or prevent our team from maybe taking damage because I'm a good wall. But like, let's say if that exact same thing happened and we were down half a level, I might be saying like, guys, I can't come help. Like, we need to close that gap. But sometimes the shot caller will also tell me like, hey, I know we're behind. We got to take this opportunity, and then I'll still go, right? So it's making sure that there's that open communication between you as the offlane and your shot caller about like the multiple needs of the team that can be going on in a single moment of time, and which one you're actually going to work on together.
Yeah.
The
I
other
think
thing
we got a
guess-
decent rapport of that going right now. We can always do better, of course, but
totally.
yeah.
The other thing I should maybe context my stuff with is, this isn't how to play this. I'm not like giving you, say, advice on how to play at, say, masters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it's like, yeah, you know what? At that level of play, like
The
the
comms
right
are a
and
lot
wrong is so
simpler.
much more narrow and easier to figure out. We're kind of like at our collective level of play for everyone in this lobby. I think it's more like analogous to say improv than acting, where it's like we've got to be aware of the opportunities and what we're giving each other and play off it, rather than aspiring to like a objective right or wrong in every moment.
It's a good way
Now,
of
if you want
putting
to
it. At
climb, you
least.
got to figure out what that black and white, right and wrong stuff is. But
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you're specifically playing like, oh, we're gonna do a light bomb combo, like feel free to, it's like maybe both of you guys have done the combo enough times to where you can just sense, oh, he's getting ready to go in, and you can throw the light bomb without communicating it, versus, oh, okay, we're looking for this or that. This particular engagement, I called Zad down because he had more to do, but I said, hey, can we punish them if they collapse here? And then Zad got thrown over and it instantly ruined everything that I was trying to do.
Ooh.
So we end up actually losing everybody here.
Did that shield land?
No, it didn't. The throw.
it
Yeah, I
missed.
was about to say it.
I
It looked like
think
they
what I needed
stopped
to
though.
do was walk in and hit B at the beginning of the fight, not at the end, so that I can't get thrown over the wall.
So that's probably the one mistake that put us in a spot where we actually were even again this game. Like we were ahead a lot. I made a bad macro call maybe early on, like I said, but that fight and that positioning, that well played throw from Garrosh made it to where they ended up getting a whole keep off of this. So, but of course, Zad's doing the best thing that he can do, right? Like Zad cannot save the building. There's absolutely nothing that he can do. So what he can do is help us get to 20. And so obviously he's going to go ahead and pick up the macro where he can. And then because he's picking up the macro, if they don't answer, they're actually going to be losing their own soak, as well as potentially not being able to stop the minions from pushing the structure damage.
And here, because I see them off the map and then kind of heading to mid, it's like I felt that I could clear the wave and then still safely leave the lane, right? But depending on when you see them go missing, especially this late in the game, it might be better, instead of fixating on I need to get 20s, to my team needs me alive because that objective's coming and I'm not going to be up in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Well done. Let us press onward.
So I'm trying to find them right now as we're dancing around in the bushes and such. And as the objective's coming up, Zad's getting one more wave cleared out. And so he told me he's not there yet, so I'm going down. And then Brightwing, being global, was able to go and pick up her stuff. So in this particular instance, we're not trying to start the objective right away. We're actually looking to find them out of position. And, as the shot caller, I can say that, hey, we're looking. So it's like, let's see if we can get a boop or something. So I tried calling for the boop there, but it was too late. So just trying to find an opportunity for them to be out of position. And specifically at this late in the game, I said I want to look for Sonya. Show me where Sonya is. And so we found Sonya there in the bottom and ended up being able to nearly kill her. But she leaps away, but then it just kills everybody on the team that tried to follow up and save her.
Nice.
So
And something I do when Rock calls me up like that is I give him information where I'm not trying to contest the call, but it's like I feel Rock and I can jive where I'm like, I'm 4 seconds away, and I feel that makes sense to Rock. But that's also important information where if he calls me up, but I'm not telling him how long it's going to take him to get there, right? Assumptions start to develop, and he can think I'm closer or farther away and we could lose or be punished for opportunities that if that assumption didn't happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's figuring out how to communicate to your tank or shot caller. Some people, I've heard other offlaners go hey, I'm mid lane and I'm on my way. In my experience for our team, that sometimes convolutes it or causes confusion where it's the objective's bottom lane, but I'm mid lane and I, weird stuff like that. So it's what works between you and the person who needs to know, and just making sure that it's verbally communicated in a way that makes sense to both parties.
So,
Yeah.
So definitely here, there was a lot of... Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just made a sound. Sorry.
You're good. I was just saying, like, here, usually you have the offlane is the person that goes and covers that soak. So it's like, but I made a call. Well, Velvet's like, I don't need your help. Like, I can use wind to clear the waves. And I actually didn't know until this game how much damage it did to the fact that he could just do this and, like, help clear the waves. And so I made a mistake. I tried to hide in the bush to 39 the objective to have it come up. But unfortunately, the minion walked into the bush with me, and I smacked it. And so I started the objective too early. I wanted to get all the macro cleaned up, and then we could 5-man push with it. But so Velvet again is far away because he has the ability to blink in. And so I'm looped, but I don't know, like, it feels like a waste on me. I called, I'm looking for a mosh. Right wing has blunk in and saved my health. Velvet pulls off the most miraculous time stop and double heal I've ever seen, and saves everyone's bacon despite how painful that was. So I made a call, we're too low to continue, and this is the whole reason why I wanted to 39 the objective, right? Like, we got 3 kills, and we're doing homework.
And
So-
if I could do that segment over again, I also didn't know that the Emerald was going to be that efficient. But I needed to go back because I didn't have mana. So if I were to do that again, I would have gone home, got mana, and just went to clear mid-wave. And then that could free Velvet to, like, de-push the bottom wave with the Kata one more time, if that makes sense. But I definitely was like, oh, I'm back for mana. Oh, Brightwing needs to clear all this stuff. Well, so that was a cool little learning thing for me, too.
So at this point in the game, as much as Zad's, still picking up trash as far as all of our macro mistakes, we're trying to force anything that we can where we have our numbers advantage. We effectively taken down the mid wall and we've run out of time. And so at this point, we're slowing the game back down and looking for where we can either find them out of position or try and exploit some sort of imbalance. And so right now I said, hey, can we look at the left side, right? Like, everything is pushed up and see if they want to play. And then they ended up scouting us with the Wisp. And I said, just don't do it. Like, we don't want to give them a 5v5 fight on their side of the map. We'll just do our homework and play our win condition, which has more or less been a mix of pick and all in. And so if we can find someone being split, let's just kill them that way. So Joe can extend this far and safely clear things because Joe has unstoppable.
And I know my team is also, like, relatively close, so that... But yeah, if I didn't have unstoppable there, like, if I was Sonya, I don't know that I would be clearing that.
Yeah. And then I called aggressively, let's take this, because if we can push for top, if they want to try and base race us, like, we eventually will be able to catch. We see Rhaegar showing. And so I said, okay, keep pushing top. They're taking our camp. So Joe's doing his best to clean up the waves that are not near our push, because obviously if we're pushing, we're not going to be able to do anything. And so Joe's kind of trying to this right now an in-between of, like, am I clearing? Do you need help? Are you clearing? Do I need help? So we got the building to effectively 75% dead with an immortal, or the never-ending spawning shamans. And so since we got that to that state, that building was going to die, so now we can come back and punish them. And yeah, we end up getting Zephy first, and then I think we get maybe one more. But yeah, there's a lot of communication, and on this particular thing, as much as it looks like, I just watched 25 minutes of Rock's video, and all I did was watch Zad walk up and condemn waves and then auto-attack them. Yeah, that's what he's doing.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, it's helping.
Can I ask a question?
Offlane, like,
Yeah,
if
go
you're
ahead.
not dueling, it isn't the most, like... I think sometimes I often even joke, like, guys, look at my APM. Right? It's not... But it doesn't mean it's not important.
No, it is. I just know, obviously, post 20, it's not super important. It's more clearing for structures. But like post 16 is as when I offlane, I try to be around for their calls a little bit more. Not necessarily negating trying to soak for 20,
Yeah.
but I try to be there for like my team's very aggressive. We try to get picks a lot, so I'm trying to be there to skew the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Something you can also do is either you or one of the DPS can dangle out as bait, and you could have the other 4 players in a bush around that person. And if the other team hasn't been tracking vision enough, like you could from their perspective, it's a counter engage, but from your perspective, it's just a straight up engage.
Yeah, if you like, there's been a couple times where I don't think they've done it purposefully, but if you've been watching some of our rotations were really whack because we were trying to catch people that were overextended. Like they had Lunara and Sonya a couple times that were like, they were pushing up past this building here, and it's like Lunara was kind of down here pushing the waves, and so we made rotations where like we just kind of got near their wall to see if like they just backed normally or if they actually like backed. So there's different opportunities that can be available. Who had a question out there?
That was me,
Go
Bird.
for it, Bird.
Apologies if you guys covered this earlier because I know you were talking about Joe in general, but how, I guess it's 2 questions. Like, how would you compare her double soaking speed to other bruisers, and like what maps or situations is she strong in? Because I can't imagine her being strong on like D-Shire or Braxis kind of fight
Yeah, I think
point control.
Yeah, I think you're right. So the backstory for this is CCS had the 100% win rate with Joe over the whole season.
And
But
Joe
what
was
they
always
did is
falling sword.
to cleanse any engage. So like our plan was basically like we made a calculated wager that they would fall apart without the Joe, and we're just gonna go to maps where I can soak and it doesn't matter that I'm not a traditional laner. So like I from my experience with other offlaners, this is like literally my 4th or 5th offlane Joe game. It feels like very similar to me to how I would be playing positioning and timing with Neil Peasant's Leoric or Augur or Sonya if I'm really like on my positioning and timing.
Yeah, but it doesn't clear as fast, right?
It feels like because I took the 4 with Johanna and I normally take Neil Peasants with Leoric, it felt similar. But there's also a trick with Leoric where it's like you've got to understand where to hit your cleave and where to hit your crit.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the timing falls apart. I mean, I think Joe is technically faster, but in my head, I see the
Really?
like tiers of speed, and it's like I'd put Leo and Joe in the same tier, even if Joe maybe beats Leo, if that makes sense.
I would have bet the opposite.
Now, as Johanna, I wouldn't want to duel Leo in lane. He'd beat me every time because of the W. But like Leo's pretty sneaky fast with the Neil Peasants, and if you know your positioning on how to manipulate your cleaves.
Especially late game, if he's like auto attack build, I feel like the wave is deleted. I feel like Hogger's like a step above the 2, but
Hogger can be, but it's like I find you gotta know, like it really depends on like, did I hit my bounce right? Do I have my D and my Q up?
yeah, I'm thinking like ideal
Ideal
situations
scenarios. I
here.
think Hogger would be the fastest. The other thing that maybe is biasing me is with Joe. I took the Eternal Retaliation on 4. So after I condemn something, I one-shot a minion with an auto attack and get mana.
Yeah, I can't see a way that you keep up without that.
Yeah. So I think anything I'm saying is with a caveat at like level 4, that talent. And then I think for like the maps, it's like I wouldn't want Johanna as the off lane on, like you said, like D-Shire, Braxis. I wouldn't want to play her at Tomb, right, where it's like I kind of manage one lane and I'm not really double soaking. But on maps where it's like I think Volskaya, it would be useful because I could double soak top bottom. Infernal. You might be able
Tomb
to
you can
do
do
some
too.
Towers?
shenanigans on Garden with that
Maybe
Horde Summon
towers?
at 7. Towers, yeah.
I would have to see that in action to like buy it. I think
The Towers one, or
feel-
the
I-
Joe versus Leo?
just any yeah Joe versus Leo.
Yeah,
Feel
Joe
like I could
versus
outsoak a
Leo-
Leo or a Joe.
Sorry, can you say that again?
I feel like I could outsoak a Joe as Leo, but I believe you.
Well, and the other
I'm
thing
like
is that,
halfway there. I think I have to see it for myself.
yeah, there's also just an element too of like it also kind of matters who the Joe and who the Leo is, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm just like thinking like on paper, like they're both clearing the waves as efficiently as possible and
Yeah.
not being interrupted.
Now, there's also, I think, other things too, like to your point, where it's like Leo, I think, is significantly more efficient on the shrine objective than Johanna from the offlane perspective.
Yeah.
Because I don't get that level 4 I have does not help with the shrine. I get the mana back from hitting them, but it doesn't give me that one shot.
Yeah.
I also made some assumptions where I'm like, I prefer to make playmaking flanks, and they didn't really have a heavy engage, so I didn't feel Falling Sword was right. But I could see a world where if you tried this, like Falling Sword would be more correct than Blessed Shield, even for the offlane. Kind of depends.
You would take that as an escape or as an
Since
engage
it cleanses
tool?
your whole team, you could use it as like if you know the other team's like all in with like multiple CCs.
Like,
If
Is
you
it
don't have a
'cause the, like,
healer, you can cleanse the
Mephisto-
whole team.
Is it because they took Mephisto and you guys thought about like Durance?
No, this was basically our whole draft plan for this series against CCS is we're going to take first pick every time. We're going to first pick Joe, and if Rock finds a better tank, we're going to give Rock the better tank than me getting my preference on offlane, just because of how much value we felt we were denying from CCS specifically.
I always forget about the
Yeah.
Falling Sword cleanse. It's kind of like a sank, to be honest.
Yeah, it's
It's
a
really good.
movable, shorter cooldown sank that doesn't give the invulnerable. But it's when used in the right spot, it's like hard, like one
I
of the
guess
hard.
it's a shorter cooldown, but or a shorter duration.
Yeah,
The-
that too.
Yeah. If you look here for this wave, right? So he's condemned it and hit it. So that was about 6 seconds to clear the entire wave, but he just left early to get the objective. So like,
Yeah.
it's definitely up there with Hogger. I'll have to watch Hogger on the next one when they're all running bottom right now, so Hogger's not going to clear wave.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good example.
Yeah, you can see. And this is another one where it's like, for OOGA's sake, I'm not actually looking at... I'm never trying to step up and hit Hogger. You know, like, let's say I'm like Sonya or Leo. You know, I actually might go and try to chip away at the other offlaner's resources. Where here it's just like, I'm better at clearing. I have no offensive tools. I'm not even going to try.
So he
Yeah.
lost this team fight because I called the wrong target. So it's unfortunate. And then you get the first kill, then Ming and she'll get more. So
And then I'm just like, well, we got killed. I'm going to run off and soak. But again, that's also something I try to verbalize. I don't think I always get it out perfectly, but even if it seems obvious and it changes like where I am on the map, I try to communicate it.
like, Hogger had 2 waves there, or sorry, Joe had 2 waves there, and he cleared 1.5, and Hogger's 1 with burning fire or garbage fire. So let's watch. Well, Joe's oh, no, as I said, I think Joe's unchallenged this one, but he's not. I was gonna try and time it again for what's there.
Yeah.
So
Now here, what
Hogger's-
I'm actually intentionally staying back to clear the mid lane, because I'm trying to offset myself with Hogger, anticipating when the objective's up that I'm going to be back at mid lane for the objective, and I felt that if I went top base, because the waves spawn in those 30-second intervals, right? So in my head, I'm like, at 30 seconds, I'll be top mid, top mid. I need to end at mid. So
Yeah.
I'm taking a chance. I'm going to get small globes top, expecting the benefit being that I will be a head to the central lane for the objective to my opponent.
And then also the invade that we just did, right? I feel more comfortable doing the invade because I see Hogger top and Mephisto middle. And so the fact that Zad is close, I was asking him, are you close for this if I go for the invade? And he's like, yeah, I'm close. So, but just to look at Hogger's thing real quick.
And I think when you asked about the invade, you even verbally like, is Hogger's top, and then you confirmed that I was there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the nice thing is about doing that is the DPS are already picking up on the vibe that the tank is looking for the engage when he's checking if I'm there for the invade, right?
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's about that Hogger didn't clear it efficiently. I think Hogger can clear the entire wave if he uses DEQ in 4.5 seconds.
Yeah.
But at least that example, he didn't do it perfectly. So.
Although something to note is there's a couple of times where Hogger's going to get that top camp, and I've got no tools to stop it other than deep pushing it. Also, if anybody has questions about like why I'm doing something, in case I don't bring it up, like, feel free to ask. Because sometimes it can be like, I have a biased opinion and I did a wrong thing, or it's like, you know, hey, sometimes I'm thinking ahead, like I'm trying to manage my waves in 30-second intervals.
I think my gut reaction to that camp, if I was you, I'm not saying it's correct
go
or
ahead.
not, would have been to just like let it crash and give the wall and continue my double soak.
Yeah, there I was like,
It could go either way. We tend to play pretty macro heavy, and so if we can save our buildings, that's less of a 6 cap that they can run at us for. But
yeah, I've just always put a lot of like stress on the like min max efficiency of my double soak,
sorry about that. I accidentally stepped
especially
up.
on this this map.
Yeah, I think I could have maybe gone there. I was just worried about like the giving them the extra tower soak.
Yeah, that's what Rock was saying.
But again, I don't know if that's like actually one of those objectively right or wrong things, other than like if you switch the XP bars right now and we were almost 12, I think I would do what you just said and leave it rather than try to close the gap. We were so close to that Tyrant kill.
yeah, just just a mess. That's the early game here was me just trying to force too many things, just because I saw that we were slowly losing, and I was like, we need to make plays happen when we can get the advantage, and yeah, we just didn't have it yet. The mana back talent is actually outrageous. Like
I know. It is like, well, when you think about it, like a wave would be 70 mana back. I think you actually net ahead if you clear the whole wave.
Yeah, and each condemns 50.
Yeah. So you're netting 20 mana per wave, not counting the globe.
So yeah, definitely Hogger's faster. You just saw him clear that whole wave, but again, he's using his whole kit.
Now there, I don't know if I got lucky that he didn't hit throw, to be honest, because I didn't hit D.
He threw you back into the wave. He just didn't decide to. He didn't have taunt.
Oh, sorry, that's what I meant was taunt.
Yeah, Valk also is an enjoyer.
There's also
I'm just trying to like solidify in my head when you would want this, and I'm thinking it's either counter engage with sword or an additional all-in engage with shield. It's like why you would take the. I know. Safety is nice too.
Yeah.
You know that
is where you
she's
have
hard to gank, but like so is Leo, and he's got a pretty good engage as well. So.
Yeah. And like, this isn't something where, because who are we playing next week? USAE.
Yeah.
we're probably not going to bust this out, right? This is kind of like a specific.
Yeah, I get that too. I'm just
Now, on that note, though, it's like one of my favorite things, like my absolute favorite lane matchup is me being ETC into Dahaka.
This is like the example of you wanting me on Blaze versus LTK to take it from him, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not the greatest on him, but you just don't want him on them.
What
I
other
don't
hero-
mind Blaze
What other hero? Can
because
manage-
I like your Leo and I think it's a strong matchup.
What am I like? What other hero survives what you just walk through here?
Yeah, whereas like I got
Leo,
You, like I said, like you got.
Leo, maybe Hogger.
So if the stun, right? If Hogger stun, because the stun came out from Hogger,
Yep.
it missed, and then you're able to shield peel all 5 of them off of you.
Like Leo, if he popped E at the exact same time, he's probably out too. Maybe with more health taken, but
Yeah.
I feel like a
Oh, yeah,
regular
definitely
person would not
backwards.
press that trait so fast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
You
oh, I don't
legit,
go off.
yeah,
I'm dead.
yeah. You didn't even see the whole team. You saw one hogger, and you're like instantly just press it. I feel like other people would have done that. They would have died there.
Yeah, they're like, oh, it's. The other thing too is I also like from playing this particular group as much as I have is like I haven't seen him for a minute. Zephy almost never queues, like actually will queue me. So like this is weird. His behavior has changed. I am in
I
danger.
missed that slide by half a second. Gosh dang it, man.
love wind.
So, again, trying too hard to make plays, and that gets us killed. So.
Do you remember this game?
Oh, I do.
Something like as Rock and I could potentially do better together with this particular arrangement is I'm more used to being a flanker bruiser, right? Where it's like I actually straight up could cover the tanking for Rock with my hero. So like if we kept doing this comp more, like those are things you can get away with where it's like, yeah, it's kind of hard to tank as Sonya, but I'm actually literally a tank right now, you know? Maybe I could get 2 objectives before Rock and let him soak with stage dive. Yeah, Wind is crazy, getting so much crazy value. Like, it felt that way when we were playing it, but, like, watching it again.
Good shield go on.
Yeah, I keep. It was going on the Tyrande, but I booped Tyrande out of the way on accident. It's one of the
Classic
problems.
ETC.
Well, it's one of the problems when you take Pinball Wizard.
Yeah.
Because if I don't take Pinball Wizard, I'm never pushing boop there. But because I did, I'm trying to secure the burst with the extra damage. So.
And I also, from not being super practiced on Johanna, I didn't have the presence of mind to go, I know Rock has Pinball Wizard, he's gonna boop, I need to adjust my aim. I'm just like, I need to aim the skill that I haven't thrown a bunch of times. So that's another, like, with practice and reps, I probably could hit that shield if I'm, like, not just trying to hit shield.
Deal.
It's, if you haven't seen this game,
I have. I was there.
I was saying, like, but I know
I
not
like the
everyone was there.
toothbrush. The toothbrush tells me all I need to know.
All I need. Oh, man.
What, at my status?
Yeah.
There's a couple other things that, like, I think if I played offlane Johanna more, I was really bad at, like, optimizing my hammer timing. Because it's like every time my abilities hit something, I get hammer CDR, and I think I could have done a lot better and got more hammers out, which is, you know, more siege or more vision.
Because hammers is literally free.
Yeah,
So
it is
like
no.
Cavalier guest talked about that if you're playing Joanna, it's like the most optimal way to play Joanna would be to have the #1 taped down, or what? Because it's like you should never not be pushing the button, and it's like, oh, like it's that good, and it's like it's absolutely free, so there's no reason to not be pushing it. And then on top of
like,
it
that
does damage.
second hammer gives so much vision.
Like, I know as playing main tank Joe, I always try and make sure, okay, my hammers are almost up. Make sure I flashlight the wave, push the hammer. Flashlight the wave, push the hammer again. But yeah, I don't have any, like I said, a ton more on this particular thing for Joe, because I think the biggest thing that I think we kind of took away from my review of this, as well as what Joe is bringing to the fight, is Joe is able to safely double soak and is equivalent to taking a Leoric, taking a Zool, taking someone that, like, I want a double soaker, but I'm afraid that they're going to die, or I want a double soaker, and my tank matchup has changed. Because, like, being able to first pick Joe, and, like, I don't know, I won't say it's 100% works because I don't have evidence for it, but Kavgas talked about how, like, there's no reason why Joe can't even be played as your 4-man. Like, effectively having Bruiser
He can
Joe.
do enough damage.
Like, yeah, like, if we look at the damage chart real quick, right, like, Joe has 23,000 hero damage, right, and he's been soaking the whole time. And so it's one of those things where it's like, if you were to go ahead and compare to Hogger, Hogger's been soaking the whole time and only has 19,000. And usually Hogger's a DPS, like a damage dealer, right? Like, Hogger shows up to fights and unleashes damage. But the fact that Joe is out damaging him and is being incredibly safe, like, Joe has no deaths and is able to continue to play, you know, this way the whole game. Like, 4-man Joe could honestly be a bruiser with the full shield glare and hammers. I know we made a lot of...
It's like matchup dependent, right, though? Because, like,
Yeah.
you give up a lot. Like, we said that Leo fills the same role, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, the other thing
You do give up a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Not
Or,
taking
like,
Leo against certain comps, you know.
I also, to your point, Johanna's 20s as the offlane feel really meh. Where it's like with Leo, like, I either get that drain thing where I hit it and I'll never die. And
Yeah, or you get one of the
damage.
best ults in the game.
Yeah, or just you get buried alive, right? Like, Leo's got multiple game-winning 20s, and Joe's is like, you either can't kill me or my shield bouncy a little bit more. You know, like it. So there's other things you can try to build around too, where it's like, yeah, I do not significantly contribute more to the team at 20 compared to some of the other offlane choices.
Yeah.
I also think there I could have held my shield differently and helped not have everyone die.
That was a great boop. Right into the trap.
Mm-hmm. This whole segment is just nuts. I can't believe, like, you said the stream is funny because you hear when he was screaming, I'm like, go middle and block. Like, she's just sitting there getting stunned and screaming, ah! Like, oh, okay, fine. I guess I'll just stage dive to you. I'm like, I didn't even know where she was. Just...
Did Waniba do the purple talent at 16?
She always takes it.
Because that is the only way she gets that kill.
Yeah. The burst Q at 16 where you fire
yeah,
your
not the shotgun. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
But like, yeah, I didn't see that during the game, but rewatching that on the replay.
I didn't realize that's why you took it.
Your full Q build, it's really good.
Well, no, she took it specifically because of the level 1.
Yeah, Tricky Shuffles is awesome.
I see it. Oh my gosh. I didn't realize that's... No, the movement speed's good. I didn't realize that's why you took that. Because, yeah, this gives you more burst, too. Because it increases the basic attack range, but frag launcher is fired within 0.5 seconds of using a basic attack deal bonus damage. I didn't realize. So you effectively, when you play it this way, you are another mage compared to a sustained damage dealer.
Yeah. But, like, 100% without those talents, that person lives.
Oh, yeah. Both of those, they would have lived, because you can't shoot your Qs that fast. So.
Junkrat is like one of the 2 ranged characters that I have a positive win rate with.
Mm-hmm.
For context, so I'm like, oh my gosh, that is a thing.
So.
Unless you're boop build, then you get in there and shotgun it.
I like
Yep.
traps and boops, but obviously, you said you play what makes sense.
Yeah.
Quickly, if you don't have time for this, Zed, I understand. I said thank you so much for your stuff. This is
Are you okay if I
this is
still
OOGA's.
hang out?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna look at OOGA's replay here. This is the one he sent me about Leoric. So funny. I always said Leoric here. But
Is this an
obviously,
NGS game?
yeah, this is the one that OOGA sent me. That was Towers of Doom. It looks like it's versus the first place team, Urban Punk, Honey Badger. Oh no, this is Storm League because Archangel and Keck aren't on the same team, but Urban Punk is Punk Pirate and all that.
It was
Ooga,
a
what
game I
game?
think you suggested that it should be looked at.
Oh, okay.
Um,
A while ago, because I feel like I haven't
yeah,
said
it's
that in
not
a week or
too.
two.
It's been a few weeks. We've had to reschedule this a few times.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
nice.
one time, but
Good on you for holding on to it.
So can't get his POV. Okay, so you guys are making the conscious decision to start by staggering your offlane. I don't know if it's because you think that there's stacks or it's danger, but I think that you probably actually want to be 4 mid or 5 mid to start here into their composition, just because OOGA can interfere with Honey Badger a little bit more, and then on top of that, you want to be able to start your rotations faster, right? Like you have a lot of safe poke or safe clear, but you only have 1 body, so I would have probably started mid and just speed cleared it with your chromie and your junk, so that way you're able to actually get out of there compared to being stuck. Because like
I give you
your advantage here didn't net you anything. You got, a quarter of the wall, but we lost a kill and you didn't stagger. Like you're not offsetted. Like if your goal was to be offset from Blaze, you're thinking incorrectly, right? You want to be dueling Blaze as you clear,
okay.
right? Because of that, exactly right there. Force him to E away. So if you can continue to put your glove on him for free while you're clearing, he's dying while you're clearing, right? Because he has to stand in the waves for your clear. You will just continue to abuse the crap out of him. Like certain matchups you don't want to be matched up and even with. But into Blaze, you definitely want to be harassing him. So right here, this is a good question. It's like, should I be rotating? Right? Like I say, like, he's blown all of his buttons, right? He blew his trait, his D, and he blew his level 1. So it's like, should I be staying and pushing this wave or should I leave? And so I don't know if you left, on autopilot, being like, I need to go middle. Or if you made a conscious decision that I don't want to fight him into his trait and into his auto attack speed. But
they are invading bot right now.
Yeah, I think they're invading, and I think the call is for me to come as fast as possible.
okay, sounds good.
So that's a good reason.
Well,
Although to
they're
Rod's
invading.
point,
Watch me win.
that was a great regret mine.
Yeah, they said never mind or something, and I just started doing mid.
Something I find with the Leo Maze Blaze matchup is if you go, oh, what's the one where the minions die and they give you mana?
The
Fealty.
level 1 fealty.
Yeah,
I've been taking that a lot
Uh,
more lately.
I do
Blaze,
that
one of the
when I know
biggest-
you guys let me double soak. Otherwise, I take the renewal because you guys
Yeah.
have me usually 1 lane.
Into Blaze, like I find one of Blaze's like high skill issues is his mana management. And as Leo, you can actually start winning by just having infinite mana against Blaze, who has a real finite mana pool.
You're not needed here, OOGA. Unless you specifically got told, help me clear this fast.
Yeah, because
You-
or the top's
Because
crashing.
top's crashing. And on top of that, anyone, literally anyone, can do the Giants. It may be
True.
slow, but anyone can do it. And we see Garrosh's bottom. And without Garrosh, I don't fear an invade. So this taking a little bit more time really shouldn't hurt us. And then, I guess lastly, kind of backing up our big picture macro, right? Like, do we want this seed? Right? Like, say it's like we do have 2 really good poke heroes, so we can stall. So I would rather we play and plan for, hey, we're going to be stalling this, so, like, don't hard commit, but we're not going to, like, force a fight. So potentially having either, I'd probably put Junkrat, like, once Junkrat's done here, right? Like, Junkrat can push top. Once you're done clearing top, you can rotate all the way down to bottom and just start clearing waves, double soaking mid bot, and allow Chromie Junk and Anna to poke. Right? Like, because, like, they have relatively, I guess they have, no, Anduin didn't take the right talent on one, so they have relatively low sustain over that point control, and you're not really fighting, right? Like, this particular point is in their favor, but, like, you've got 2 great poking angles with your long-ranged heroes.
Yeah.
And so, like, being able to have Chromie put a time trap here and continue to poke, or a time trap here, continue to poke, Junkrat puts a trap here and continues to poke, right? Like, you can pick either one of your heroes, whoever you feel more comfortable doing it, and allowing them to split push, because you really don't want to fight on their side. Like, if you end up getting a kill, you could still lose on this side just because they have resources and they have a tower that they can run to. And similar to Stitches, Garrosh's favorite thing is having towers, because he ends up using your towers for bonus damage. So when the walls are gone, similar to how Stitches is less scary and Misha is less scary, or Rexar is less scary, Brett, you won't have to worry about that. So, like, not that this is the biggest decision in the world, but, like, if this is cleared, right?
Yeah.
Then the team can then make a decision on what to do, versus what's about to happen is we're about to lose half the XP on this. We're going to get this camp, and then potentially the shot caller or whoever's here is like, well, we're 5 top, so we might as well go run at this seed. So that's my guess about what's happened. So you ended up seeing it. Oh, you still warded
No.
for him too.
I saw the
Got it.
mid.
So, but yeah, just something to think about as far as, like, most heroes. It's taken me a while to understand it for Zad, but most heroes have specifically nice E out. Most heroes have a specific thing that they're good at doing, and Leo is not good at camps, right? Like, you can take Neil Peasants to be good at camps, right? But, like, that's really not your job. Your job is you're good at waves. And so being able to kind of in your mind, when you pick your offlane or whatever one you're at, you're like, I'm good at waves. I'm good at dueling. I'm good at, these other factors help you potentially make decisions on where you want to go or what you want to do. Because, like, if you think, oh, I'm going to go do waves or I'm going to go do the camp as Rexar, like, that's just wrong.
That's a talent.
Yeah, like you have to talent into it, or you can't do it, or you can't do it efficiently. So yeah, just trying to find those different things.
Well, and adjusting your drafts too. Like, I know our comps and, like, what hero. Oh, nice. What heroes we go for our DPS change as the offlaner, if I can camp or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Rock is really good at catching if I make that mistake where I'm drafting a comp where it's assuming that I have Hogger and I don't get an offlaner who can camp at catching that. That was real nice coordination.
Nice. What this enemy team should have done, and something you have to watch out for as you play more and do stuff. Oh, go ahead.
This is Deepwater?
It might be.
Yeah, this is one of our scrims.
Oh,
this
okay.
is one of our scrims, not Storm League. My bad.
No problem. One thing that this enemy team should have done, and a lot of other teams that you play up on big maps like this, they might realize or start doing, is Leo is actually really, really bad into anything ranged. And so, like, if an enemy team...
Tychus just eats my ass.
Exactly. So I'm like, if an enemy team picks a Leo early, just snap a Tychus. and just go sit on Leo all game with your Tychus. And
Tychus Vala just are so hard to position into with Leo.
And it's one of those things where like you're like, oh, but we lost our bruiser. I'm like, no, you do that for the beginning portion of the game, and then when you show up to the objective, you still have, whatever your bruiser is or whatever your bruiser player was, right? You just pivot them to the 4-man. But like, it's like it's there for a long time. People used to say the best hero on Towers of Doom is Zool, because Zool can double soak and push like crazy, and he goes super fast. But you know what Zool doesn't have? Escape, safety. And so, people started drafting things that just absolutely murder him. And so he's like,
Yep.
I'm not allowed to go soak anymore because there might be a Nova around the corner. And it's like, oh, well, if I'm not allowed to do my job or I can't do it efficiently, I'm slowly losing the game. And so, like, different strategies and things can be formed. So I'm really surprised looking at their draft that they didn't try to specifically keep putting Tychus versus you, because, like, Tychus has sufficient wave clear with grenade build that he could just turret you and then like, oh, you eat away? Okay, I'll clear the wave. But that's fine. I said I'm like, it's something that other teams can look
In
at.
a-
Ooh,
In a
pretty
double
sure
soak situation, though, I feel like it doesn't work.
you just make it 1-1-3.
Yeah.
Great body block.
That's fair, because it's like my response to that as a Leo would just be like, well, if he's there, I'm going to a different lane.
Yeah.
And that's in a lot of your matchups, potentially not Leo or non-Leo have to do that, right? Like you have to choose, like, do I want to be clearing the wave while someone's there? And so like, I'd probably, you don't have Osin up. I was saying, like,
Oh, I was just scouting it, and then I
yeah.
bad
There's a number
positioning,
of
but I don't know
ranged
why
heroes
I'm here so low.
who
Should have
in like
backed.
the dueling scenario actually beat most of them like meta one lane or solo laners are really high. But a lot of those ranged heroes don't have the durability or safety.
Yeah. That's yeah. I think you can do that, but you really should have just gone home as soon as
Yeah.
like, you saw someone and you found that they're on that camp. Like you can't steal the camp. Like unless your team is planning on rotating in and using your Atum. Yeah, that was just a freebie.
Was anybody on your team in Vision?
We can go back and
I don't recall.
Because
I
like
think everyone was off the map.
if you're all off the map and you were healthy, you could try to be like, "Oh, are we invading?" and maybe spook them off. But there, even if you're like you're low enough that even if everyone's out of vision, it's like, well, we can probably just kill you. I think it was Tists. Tists. I can't say his name ever. TSSST.
Yeah.
As Muradin would just tell his team to hide, and would be able to steal camps solo because the other team didn't want to take the risk that they were going to get ganked. And so I think there's a good logic to like that positioning if you were healthy and your team's out of vision.
Yeah, that's fair.
So like right here, your first check where you find him, right? Like your team is out of
I
vision.
scare him.
Yeah. So it's like, but that's probably all you can
Because
do.
Mac was just seen on the seed there, so that's where.
Yeah, but once their
assume they
camp's
may be there.
taken, that's probably enough of a signal for you that it's like, oh, they might be coming here. I just need to get health. I need to get mana. Like there's like, yeah, like you just took your camp, so like I can't see your vision, but like,
It shows where the rest of the team is, though.
yeah, it shows where the rest
Yeah.
of the team is, so they know that you're probably by yourself or not as a full 5, and they're collapsing as 5. The other thing to think about, and it's always hard because I agree with you, I'm a bloodthirsty killer. I want to attack, I want to hit things. And so like, how do you know, or what can you see to be able to call out that this is the right fight or the right thing to fight for? Right? I'm looking at what's here. Like the seed spawning timer is broken, so don't look at that. But like, I look at the map state. So it's like, I don't have 13s, so I don't have a clear talent tier advantage. I don't have numbers advantage, so it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I don't have resources between health and mana. Like, do I really want to be here? Do I really want to try and force a fight here? And just trying to remember to pick the fights and pick the times where your pick is going to get value. And it's really hard because like you're always looking to pick, but the wrong pick, like if you remember back to Infernal Shrines, right? Like we killed 3 people at their base and got nothing.
Got no value.
But yeah.
Yeah.
And it's 100% my fault for triggering the objective too early. and wasn't able to clear all the camps and do anything with it. And so in the same way, it's like if we invade here and we get a bunch of kills, so it's like, or we go 2 for 2, like it doesn't put us closer to the seed. It doesn't put us closer to sieging a building. It's just fighting for fighting's sake, and yeah, it just can be hard. So let's see. Jump back to actual Leo POV because they're about to come down and invade you guys now. Now that Leo's dead. Oh, they weren't actually invading, they're just clearing. Oh no, there they go. I thought I saw them looking. So yeah, now we're 3 of 3 seed, and unfortunately it's their side. Right? Like, not that you being dead changed anything because you're alive for it, but like, I don't know if there's any positioning or macro things that could change. So, looks like you're gonna get this Garrosh though. Yeah, my Garrosh is way out of his position. Oh, nice. Trade the seed for 2 kills, maybe 3. No, he's gone. It should even itself out. You guys have enough wave clear that you just save mid first and then you're good to go. So that works out.
Talent selection online.
Good job calling your Chromie off of the bottom lane. So right here. Okay, you did move. I was gonna say, let me make you link. Your waves are neutral. Uh-oh, I got someone duplicated or pinging. There you go. Right here, your waves are neutral. So I was gonna ask, what's your next thought or what's your next thing? Like, you have a talent tier advantage. Is your team looking for a fight? Are they asking? Are they saying, hey, there's 5 top, push bottom? Right? Like, there's lots of choices here.
I think the call is for me to just double soak, so I think I go mid and then come back bottom,
Okay.
and I try to push it.
Okay. Which is fine.
No, I guess I'm called up.
Well, yeah, I'm like, they showed 5 engaging.
No,
Mhm.
I came up seeing how far they dove and knowing that we were decently healthy still.
Which is good. That's part of, like I said, it's part of that offlane macro support, right? Is you're reading the map, reading them, you're seeing how many things are being used, and oh crap, I need to get up there. And so, as you get up here, are we... do you
I say
remember
I
what
have
your comms are here?
Entomb. I
Okay.
usually say that when I'm coming in.
Okay. Someone on the team should be calling, if they haven't, Blaze's bunker cooldown. And then you really have a hard time with these Entombs this game. Like, they have 3 Entomb answers and 1 hero that can blink out of it.
Yeah.
So this is like, I'm like, because you hit the Entomb, right? Like, that was a weird interaction with the time trap. But like, you hit the Entomb, but then there's a bunker. Like, I don't know if he actually uses it. Like, you see the Blaze actually did the right thing.
Yep.
The Blaze is like, jump in my bunker. And for whatever reason, Garrosh was like, I gotta wiggle out the other way. And so...
Yeah, if Gary runs north, he probably lives.
Yeah, as well as Anduin. Anduin didn't have pull, but I was like, as well as pulls on that side. So, but you hit the Entomb, we got the kills, made the plays. Like, they make mistakes. So one thing I always talk about is once you get your advantage, how do you push your advantage? So I like that we're pushing middle. I don't like that we're kind of so split on the DPS in the camp. So hopefully middle dies here without anyone dying. Okay, cool. So I'm like, if the middle building doesn't go down, that wasn't as effective as it could have been. And then this last 2 waves alone, if you would have had the other talent instead of Osin, you would have had so much more health.
Yeah.
But
the scaling on it is a lot better than Osin.
I'd also just press the button because you picked up 2 globes. You can just press the button and get like almost 60 seconds of cooldown reduction.
Yep. Regeneration globes over the cooldown.
Yeah.
So that's something that you got to remember is if you're taking this, you got to use it with the globes. So, and then our particular time that we backed, obviously I can't comment too much, but like 88 health. Um, so it's like right, like we'll just quickly take a second just to see what call or what happened because we're up, almost 2 levels this entire time, and so like we're backing now. What did we do 5 seconds before this? Okay, so the seed has been identified as top. We're pinging defend, defend. We want this seed, right? So as much as we need 16, so this one here, this one I think is not on you. I think this is on your team. So if you know you're that close to 16s, right? Like priority number 1 should be get 16s and then be in position to poke. You have a poke comp. And then objective number 2 is to clear this camp, right? You don't want this camp to push for free while you're fighting. So like it's like if they're calling defend and to get here, like the safest soak for you to get with the 5 of them showing middle is the bottom wave. So as long as the bottom wave, yeah, like you can clear the bottom wave, but then you need to get up there. Like you can't go home first. Like just the, like just the distance that's going to be cut here. Like you got 16s, you made it for your team, and so you need to get up there. I don't know, Zed, do you think that, like obviously I think this is more on these guys up here need to be safe until you arrive so you can fight 5v5, but like I didn't know if you think he would just leave that wave and not do it and run middle, run top right away, or Hearth right away. Oh, did Zed leave? I know he's got kiddo stuff too.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, no problem. But yeah, so I said I would have probably either went straight there or found different positioning. So
Okay.
It's barely killed.
Just killed him.
But it's okay. The Entomb. Oh, it looked like you were looking for the Entomb on the end one there. Hey, you got the. Yep,
Still
still got
holding.
him. So bunker's down. Calling Honey Badger.
He came back in for some reason.
It's all good. You got it.
Kill him. Let's go.
Ace
Body
is
block Ace.
diving hard.
No, the body blocks. You had beetles. Whatever.
He's filling for tank for us. He's not a general tank player.
That's all right.
He's learning a lot. We'll say that.
So I'm glad that you guys are trying to maximize your seed here. I don't know. Chromie just res. That's why. I'm like, I would not have Leo up here versus Chromie though, but that's because Chromie hit his rest, so that makes sense. He digs away. He's just fine, and we're all out. Cool.
I want us. So yeah, I didn't send you one that we won though. I think I tried to send you a loss. So I want to say this turns.
Yeah. If it does turn, it wouldn't terribly surprise me, just because Garden of Terror, you have to bring your own win condition, and
Just one thought that I had earlier. There's like a missed W. I've been sitting on the back of my mind. I think you're pretty good about this generally, but while we're here, I would try to queue before almost all of your Ws.
Yeah, I'm getting back in that habit. There's some of them I try to just land blank ones, knowing that I can. And the one I think you're talking about is I think it was a misclick on my W because I think
It was
I
like
said, I don't
you
know why I
were
did
out
that.
of vision in the bush and you threw it at him and it just slightly missed. But you're better off queuing and like getting closer.
yeah, get the guaranteed version.
Yeah.
I mean, exceptions are like dismounting somebody, like to harass them while they're double soaking. That's something I like to do on towers. Is like if their bruiser is about to leave the lane, I'll like toss them a W right after they've mounted, so that they have another 4 or 5 seconds before they're on their way again.
Okay, we did get it. That was sketch. Oh my gosh. Yeah, just communicating between the two of you who's looking and who's not, because like we ended up blowing both of our big engages, and
Yeah, I think I said that was 3 alts, and I think somebody said it was worth it. But
well, 1 for 1 it can be because they don't have hypothetically a front line, like we traded front lines. The seeds on your side, they really shouldn't have any business to do over here with you being up 2 levels. So yeah, I think overall like it's just hard to remember the timing of kills and the advantages that we have and what we're able to do with them. So again, like as I'm like, unless you think someone's gonna invade and you need to be the body, like feel
And
free to
the
let them do the
same
camps.
scenario,
Mhm.
it's crashed.
Yeah, it's something that like I know I'm like I want to help you or I want to be available. Like we're doing the camp, but just being able to have some confidence that they can do it, especially if we know where they are on the map or where they potentially can be. Between our time traps and our Junkrat traps, like we kind of have an idea of where their rotations are coming from. I like that we're trying to force a 20 versus 18. Let me see where that.
Selection online.
Surprised he was even in range for that.
Soon we'll have another seed.
Did he have to dig for it? No, he didn't have to dig for it. Just walked up to him. I guess
You
Ace.
missed the.
Yeah, well, I might just make sure to pick which one you want to do first. So this is really hard. Again, they have some counter picks, but then they're not really like using it. Like, I don't know if Ace saw that Ming just used laser, so he can cocoon, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of the things when you play into Ming, like you almost just want to cocoon Ming on cooldown, just because the other team may not have another cocoon break like Tychus can cocoon break, but then there's a tech that like if you cocoon the person, like you can effectively dive the person that's doing the cocoon breaking, because both these two have to stand still to break the cocoon. So like if you cocoon him and then Tychus is like I'm gonna get him out, as long as you guys ahead of time call I'm going for the Tychus, right? Like so you cocoon the Garrosh and then you dive the Tychus on purpose because he's gonna be standing still trying to break the cocoon. So,
Oh, I thought Miz created that play.
yeah, who?
That's a little joke for our server, at
Oh,
least.
okay. So, oh, go Tire, go! Oh, that blaze is dead. There's no bunker. Oh no. Okay.
The sun.
We almost committed the cardinal sin of trying to focus fire Garrosh.
I always focus Garrosh.
Focus Morales.
Focus
Not
more.
a-
So that's a good trap. This is the Garrosh problem right here. Like the anti-heal is good. Silence and Tomb. No, you guys win this game. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
That's
Yeah.
okay. No, that's all right. I think the big thing for me when I look at how you guys played this is that your guys' win condition is actually all in, and I don't know if you knew that when you picked this or did this draft, but it's actually really well done because between the Junkrat tire and the Entomb, like you're able to displace and break up so many of their tools. I'm just surprised that like the red team's draft is not a draft for a macro map, and I think that's potentially why things have fallen apart. Like Ming's wave clear isn't amazing, and she didn't go like
It's
wave clear
terrible.
build. Well, because you have to do the whole funky H thing, right? Like you have to clear a wave.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you have
from
to-
the side.
Yeah,
Yeah,
from the side, and so like it's not great. And then like Garrosh is a very linear engage, right? And it's like, what's the number one thing to stop like a variant engage? It's vision, and so you've got two vision, two vision heroes and a vision tank. So and then if they get thrown, right, like Anduin has to have follow-up CC on top of the Garrosh throw for anything to die, because Tychus has tiny arms, so he can't reach things. So it's like it's just a yeah, it's almost like they started drafting and were like, oh, Tychus is really good into these two heroes, and then oh, we need Ming because we have to have Cocoon Break, and then it's like, and we just took generic Blaze just to have it, and then we haven't really synced any of our abilities or synced any of our kills, but you guys have done a good
totally
job
got
of
a
doing
phase.
all in, so yeah.
Well, in fairness, that's the only game we won versus them. Then,
Ah.
because we played 4 and we lost 3.
Mhm. But yeah, like I said, I don't have really too much more on this one. Let me quickly look at talents and see if there's anything on the Leo stuff. So you did go full drain build this game, which you've got 2 beefy targets that you're probably going to be, holding hands with. Obviously, the one thing that's hard is that bunker breaks the leash on it,
Mm-hmm.
and so I've heard people talk about that if the blaze doesn't go oil on 7, and obviously you have Chromie, so he's trying to do spell power reduction. That it might even be worth taking AA build just because they have bunker. I like suck build, but I think that it makes sense that you will potentially get more AAs off than you will get full duration Ws, right? And so like if you're trying to use these in junction and it's never gonna get to full duration, then you're then they effectively become dead talents, right?
Yeah.
So it's I don't know. It depends on how well people are actually getting into bunkers. It depends on how well, you know, people are walking out of your W range, all that stuff. So,
I think with him Eing out of a lot of Ws,
mm-hmm,
it's an argument against it too. I get the logic though that he's just a massive health pool, so you get a lot of value while you are attached.
mm-hmm. No, I think I see Garrosh and I see a Blaze. It's like and his W is percentage health damage. So like it's great in the Garrosh. So like I again like I see it and I'm like I want to do it, but I also know that like I just have to acknowledge for myself that like I may not be getting full value out of this talent just because there's a bunker. And yeah, I like it. I probably would have gone full suck build just because I'm into Garrosh, but something to be aware of if you're running into that and you're seeing that it's constantly being broken into that Blaze matchup specifically, then just think about taking the AA one, especially if he doesn't take oil on 7. So,
Yeah.
you got anything else,
Okay.
Ed? I think I'm all set. I'm getting ready for bed.
No, that I Rock did a bang up job. I think the biggest thing is just like from kind of what when the Rock messaged me about like helping out with it is just like sometimes the best thing you can do for HOTS for your team is almost forget about HOTS and be like, how do we talk? Like, how do we need to talk in a way that's intentional for our shared goal and actually like makes sense for everyone? And that's not like meant to be passive aggressive or a dig at anyone on your team, but that's something I think any team can always work on, right?
Yeah.
And just to hopefully build a team culture where if you're not sure about something during the game, where you can ask and not feel like you're being reprimanded or like knocked down on, right? Like I would always prefer that my team asks if they can clear a wave or like if, I would always prefer Rock asking if I'm available for a flank than to assume, right? And if you can get there, a lot of those what seem like hard to figure out things or feel like it's a skill in the game gets just resolved by like communication. And I think that's why Storm League can be so frustrating because you don't have that, right? Like you don't
Oh
have
yeah.
comms to be like, I want to look for a flank. So I
No,
think
I
other
get you
than that,
there.
like, Rock is awesome at coaching and understanding HOTS at that like high level and how to like get those mechanical things down. But just to make sure, y'all invest in yourselves and your ability to like, I swear the way that I used when I first started offlaning and how I talked about it is so different than it is today, partially due to getting better, growing, and other things is just like, offlaning with different groups. I can tell you how I got to communicate shifts, right? So,
Yeah. No, that is something we do all have to work on, communication, which is good.
yeah, I don't know, that's all I got. And like, I don't know, if you ever are watching one of our streams, like any of you or um, one of our games, like feel free to like, DM me in Discord and like ask a question. Like I have no issues like explaining anything, right? Sometimes it's always neat to get a different perspective on like, you know, on the map, and it's sometimes important to be able to learn and grow and see another perspective you didn't think of to make a better decision later.
Yeah.
And for me, right? So selfishly, it helps me get better too. If people ask me what the hell are you doing?
Oh, definitely. You're not gonna. I mean, that's coaches and shit do it for all other sports and stuff. You watch replays, you
Yeah,
you learn. You practice things.
Hmm.
You just try to get better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, excellent, guys. I will
Yeah, thank
catch
you for
on
the
the next
time.
one. No problem.
Hey, no worries. Thanks for
Big thank you.
inviting me.
Mm-hmm. All right. Have a good
Yeah,
one,
thanks
guys.
for taking your time.